Thank you, Speaker of Parliament. With the new universal agenda of the Sustainable Development Goals, the world is stepping into a new era, where no one will be left behind. Now we would like to give the floor to the generation which will make this agenda a reality, the children and the youth. During this 70th anniversary year of the United Nations, the Finnish UN organizations have led a campaign called The World's Best News. Although they are not so familiar to me, but now we get to know what we have here. What do you think is the best thing that would happen the next 70 years? On a timeline covering 70 years of the past and 70 years to the future, thousands of people have expressed their visions and hopes for a better future in the form of good news. Let's hear what the young people hope and dream of. Here we have Oliver Pruski and Aino McLeverty. They are both 6th graders from Käpylä, here in Helsinki. Aino, what is your world best piece of news and why did you choose it?
In the year 2030, everybody's voice is heard by the decision makers. We would like to make a difference and we want to direct our decision makers to a better day, so the children don't have to carry the whole world on their shoulders.
And how about you, Oliver?
In the year 2025, every child has a safe and encouraging childhood. Childhood should be encouraging not only in the developing countries, but also here. Childhood should boost up children's confidence for the future to face up new situations and people in life. Every child should have a safe environment, home and people around to take care of them, because childhood is a big and important part of human life.
Next we have high school students, Ria Wigren and Juuso Kuhtivuo. Would you please share your world's best news?
That in the year 2045, half of the decision makers of the world are women. As a young woman, I'm sometimes saddened by the fact that there are very few powerful female role models for girls, and even fewer female idols of ethnicity. Moreover, I very rarely feel that girls like me are presented in politics or in the decision making. In my opinion, if half of the decision makers of the world were women, people everywhere would be affected by gender equality. Women wouldn't be so afraid to gain their place. In 2045, when women will have covered half of the political and economical fields, I can truly feel like gender equality has been reached. This way, changes can be made in the most efficient way to help women all around the world. We would be equal.
2035, the climate change has been stopped. I think that stopping climate change is absolutely the best piece of news in the future. Stopping it is really important because the consequences of it can be very destructive for all. If it is not stopped, many different species may face extinction, and then the biodiversity of Earth will be poorer. Before or after, people would have to move out to look for another planet to live, because it would be impossible to live here on Earth. environmental issues are very important to me. So, in my opinion, other species must not suffer because of climate change caused by us. And even though climate change would not affect us, stopping it would mean that the future generations would not have to suffer from our decisions. Thank you.
Okay, and then we have what kind of message Anne Pauna from the Finnish UN Youth of Finland has to tell us.
In 2030, no one is no longer defined by their gender, age, sexual orientation, religion, opinion, or the color of their skin. No one hears racist comments in daycare, at school, in job interviews, at work, on Facebook, or in old people's home. No one hears racist comments while trying to survive in everyday life. There is no discrimination against people with disabilities. Everyone is accepted as they are. Social exclusion of youth diminishes. This will lead to happiness.
Thomas, asked you, so you represent the Sami youth. What is your word, best piece of news?
My dreams of best news piece from 2020 is that the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples is fully implemented within the UN and all its member states, including Finland as one of the front runners on realizing the rights of Indigenous peoples. I dream of this as we still haven't seen the full realization of these rights, despite the endorsements made in UN in 2007 and 2014. For example, here in Finland, I am concerned especially about the right to self-determination and participation in decision-making as stated in the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, especially when following the recent developments. In addition, in May 2020, UN has established a new participatory category for a General Assembly that would allow Indigenous peoples to represent themselves at the UN. And finally, there is a global fund established to secure Indigenous peoples' participation, especially in the UN framework, as today too few care to fund the work done on Indigenous peoples within the UN.
Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and President Sauli Niinistö have also kindly shared on world's best news. Secretary General Ban's world best piece of news reads as follows. In 2030, the agenda for sustainable development is fully realized. All people enjoy lives of dignity on a prosperous, healthy, and peaceful planet. President Niinistö's world's best news is: tomorrow, all men speak up to end violence against women. Made a compilation of the world's best news and will give it to Secretary General Ban. And in order to work for a better future, we need to understand where we stand at the moment and be able to dream.